Something big is about to happen, and it's not just another rumor or recycled headline. This coming Friday, the White House is set to issue a major executive order that could directly impact millions of Americans who rely on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA benefits. And while most news outlets are only giving you pieces of the story, this video is here to give you the full truth, what's really changing, why it matters, and how it could affect your monthly income, cost of living adjustments, and even the way your benefits are managed moving forward. For years, people have been asking when real action would come, action that protects seniors, veterans, and the disabled community from rising costs and outdated systems. And now, for the first time in a long while, we are seeing an executive move that could reshape how these programs operate. But like every government announcement, the details matter. What's being called a benefits modernization order might sound positive on the surface, but the fine print is where the truth lies. And that's what we're breaking down right here. You see, this executive order isn't just about paperwork or policies. It's about power, timing, and priorities. With inflation still squeezing household budgets, grocery prices climbing, and healthcare expenses rising faster than benefits, Americans are demanding more than words. They want relief. The government knows it, and this order could be their next big step. But whether it actually helps or just complicates things even more depends on what's signed this Friday. We're talking about potential updates to how COLA adjustments are calculated, how disability reviews are handled, and even how veterans' benefits might integrate with Social Security databases. These aren't small tweaks. They're changes that could shift the timeline of your payments, the verification process, or even who qualifies for extra assistance in 2025 and beyond. So before the executive order is announced, it's critical to understand the groundwork being laid right now, because once this is signed, there won't be much time to react. The media will rush to spin their headlines, but you'll already know what's really behind the decision and what it means for your wallet, your benefits, and your future. In this video, we are breaking down everything you need to know before Friday, what's confirmed, what's expected, and what you should watch for in the coming weeks. Whether you're on Social Security retirement, SSI, SSDI, or receiving VA benefits, this update will touch your life in some way, and I'm here to walk you through it clearly, calmly, and without the hype. Because when the government makes moves like this, information isn't just power, it's protection. Now let's talk about what this upcoming executive order really means and why it's getting so much attention across the country. You've probably noticed how, every few months, there's another promise about fixing Social Security or protecting SSI and SSDI. But then everything seems to stay the same. That's exactly why this particular move is raising eyebrows, because this time, officials are suggesting that the changes will be immediate and impactful, not just long-term plans buried in congressional debates. The White House has confirmed that this executive order aims to modernize benefit delivery. But what that actually looks like will depend on how the agencies implement it. One of the biggest things being discussed behind closed doors right now is how to streamline the coordination between the Social Security Administration, the Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Treasury Department, the three main bodies responsible for distributing payments. For years, these systems have operated independently, which means data isn't always shared properly. If you're a veteran receiving VA disability and Social Security at the same time, you already know how messy that process can be. Payment delays, verification checks, and endless paperwork have become part of everyday life. The new executive order could bring a centralized digital system that allows these departments to share real-time information, speeding up approvals and reducing errors that lead to benefit holds. But as with any government reform, the question everyone is asking is, will it actually work? On paper, modernization sounds great. In practice, it could mean system overhauls that temporarily delay payments or force recipients to re-verify their eligibility once again. That's why so many seniors are watching this closely. They've seen what happens when the government updates a system. It doesn't always go smoothly. Think about the last few times the SSA website went down or payment processing was delayed because of maintenance. Imagine that happening on a national scale. So while the promise of efficiency sounds good, people are cautiously waiting to see how it plays out. Another major part of this executive order is expected to focus on cost of living adjustments, or COLA. Every year, the COLA is supposed to keep Social Security benefits aligned with inflation. But most people know that it rarely feels like enough. When rent, groceries, and prescription drugs go up faster than your benefits, that so-called adjustment feels like a bandage on a much bigger wound. Some officials are reportedly exploring ways to recalculate COLA using a more accurate formula that reflects the real expenses of older Americans, especially healthcare and housing. That could mean future increases that better match reality. But again, it depends on what's actually signed into law and how it's funded. The other side of the discussion, the part few people are talking about, involves disability reviews and eligibility processes. Over the past few years, millions of Americans on SSDI and SSI have faced sudden reviews that sometimes lead to benefits being paused or terminated. The executive order could introduce new guidelines that simplify or automate these reviews to reduce unnecessary stress for disabled individuals. The idea is to make the process less adversarial and more human, focusing on helping people stay in the system rather than pushing them out. If this happens, it could be one of the most positive reforms in years, but it will depend on how local offices implement it. Now, let's touch on something that matters to nearly every viewer watching this: timing. Why Friday? Why now? In Washington, timing is everything. Releasing a major executive order before the weekend usually means they want the news cycle to carry it through Friday evening and Saturday morning, when fewer people are paying close attention to policy details. It's a strategic move. It lets the administration show they're taking action without immediately facing the full media storm that follows big announcements. That's why it's crucial for everyday Americans to understand the meaning behind these decisions before they're overshadowed by headlines. There's also the political angle. With elections always on the horizon and senior voters being one of the most influential groups in the country, any policy connected to Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits becomes more than just economics. It becomes a promise. And while politicians love to say they'll protect benefits, the reality is more complicated. The Social Security Trust Fund has been under long-term pressure, and cost projections show that without reforms, parts of it could face funding shortfalls in the next decade. So, when you hear about an executive order aimed at strengthening and securing benefits, it's not just about convenience. It's about keeping the system alive for future recipients. If the new order includes funding reallocation or budget adjustments, that could also influence how benefits are paid out or taxed. Some analysts believe there may be provisions to adjust the taxable income thresholds for Social Security, which haven't been updated in decades. For many retirees, that's a big deal, because a significant portion of their benefits can become taxable once they cross certain income levels. Updating those thresholds would immediately help millions of middle-income seniors who are getting hit with higher taxes on the very money they worked for their entire lives. For veterans, the stakes are just as high. VA benefits have often been left out of these large-scale reform efforts, but this time, officials are hinting that VA and SSA will collaborate more closely. That could mean faster processing times for combined benefits, better access to online tools, and reduced duplication of paperwork. If this part of the executive order goes through, it could finally fix one of the most frustrating issues veterans face: getting consistent, clear communication about their benefits from multiple agencies that rarely talk to each other. Now, beyond the politics and the paperwork, let's get personal, because this story is really about people. It's about the grandmother in Ohio who's worried about whether her check will arrive on time next month. It's about the disabled veteran in Texas who's been waiting 6 months for a review decision. It's about the retired couple in Florida who watched their grocery bill double while their benefits barely moved. These are the people this executive order will affect most. For them, this isn't just news, it's life. One of the encouraging things about this development is that advocacy groups for seniors and disabled Americans have been pushing for reforms like these for years. They've demanded more transparency, better access to customer service, and faster responses from Social Security offices. Many of those same groups are now cautiously optimistic, saying that if this executive order delivers what's being promised, a streamlined, fairer, and faster system, it could genuinely improve the quality of life for millions of people. But again, the difference between a promise and a result is in the follow-through. The next few months after Friday's announcement will be critical. That's when you'll start seeing the real effects: new application procedures, updated websites, and possibly even notifications about upcoming reviews or adjustments. The most important thing you can do right now is stay informed. Keep your contact information current with Social Security or the VA. Watch for official updates, not rumors or social media posts, and double-check anything that seems uncertain. When big changes like this happen, misinformation spreads fast, and scammers often take advantage of confusion. It's also worth remembering that executive orders have limits. They can direct agencies to take specific actions, but they can't rewrite laws passed by Congress. So while this move might bring immediate improvements, lasting changes, especially those affecting benefit amounts or taxes, still depend on congressional approval. That's why this moment matters so much. It's a sign of where the government's priorities are heading, and it's setting the stage for bigger policy debates in the months ahead. By the end of this week, we'll know more about the exact wording of the order, the agencies involved, and the timeline for implementation. But one thing's already clear. The government knows it's under pressure to deliver real relief for seniors, veterans, and disabled Americans. People are tired of waiting. They're tired of watching prices go up while their benefits barely cover essentials. This executive order might not solve everything overnight, but it's the next major step in a battle that's been building for years. The fight to make sure the benefits Americans earned are secure, fair, and protected from political games. As we move closer to Friday, remember that staying calm and informed is your best tool. Don't let rumors create panic. The system may change, but your right to those benefits remains solid. You've paid in, you've earned it, and now it's time for the system to do right by you. Over the next few days, I'll continue following every update and explaining what the changes actually mean in plain, honest language. So stay tuned, stay aware, and let's get ready for what could be one of the biggest Social Security moves in recent years.